Spotify just dropped a song into your playlist that you have never heard before. It has never listened to the lyrics. It doesn't know what the song is about. It has never heard a single note the way you hear it. And somehow, it just became your favorite song of the year. How? Every December, hundreds of millions of people open Spotify Wrapped, and it does this to all of them. It sorts you into a club with strangers who feel music the way you do. It hands you a listening age and tells you your taste runs years younger than your face. It feels like it knows you. So how does a machine that can't hear know you? Here's the secret. Spotify doesn't store a song as a song. It turns every track into an arrow, pointing somewhere in an invisible space, and it turns you into an arrow too. Then it asks one simple question: whose arrow points the same way as yours? It blends a few signals to do it, but the heart of the trick is this: your taste isn't a list of songs, it's a direction. And this isn't just a music trick. This same idea, turning meaning into a direction, is the seed underneath nearly every modern AI. It's in how ChatGPT reads your sentence, how translation works, how search works. It has a name. It's called an embedding. And it is the most important idea in AI that almost nobody bothers to explain. Most videos about AI hand you tricks, prompts, tools, 10 ways to use ChatGPT. But no trick explains why a machine can finish your taste in music, or why it sometimes whispers back our ugliest prejudices without anyone typing them in. For that, you have to watch a machine turn a word into a direction. So I won't show you buttons. I'll show you how a machine turns a word into a thought. Start with the machine's basic problem. A computer can't read the word cat. It doesn't know what a cat is. All it can do is math. It pushes numbers around. So before an AI can think about anything, it has to turn every word into numbers. The whole game is, which numbers? Here's the move. Picture a giant map. Not of places, a map of meaning. Every word gets a home on it, and one rule runs everything. Words that mean similar things live close together. Cat and dog, neighbors. Cat and kitten, almost touching. Cat and banana, clear across town. But who draws this map? Nobody sits down and decides. Queen goes here. The machine starts by scattering every word at random, total chaos. Then it reads. And it lives by one ruthless rule: you are the company you keep. Dog keeps showing up beside bark, leash, loyal. Loyal, cat beside purr, nap, whiskers. So it nudges each word a little closer to the words it's seen it beside. Again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Do that across the whole internet, and the chaos slowly sorts itself into a map. Nobody drew it. It grew. And a home on that map is really just a heading from the center, an arrow. That arrow is the embedding. So when Spotify turned your taste into an arrow, this is the kind of map it was pointing into. One rule holds the whole thing up: where the arrow points is what it means. And once meaning is a direction, something insane becomes possible. You can do arithmetic on meaning. Watch closely. Start at the arrow for king. Walk backwards along the arrow for man. Then walk forward along the arrow for woman. Where do you land? Queen. The machine didn't look that up in a table. It computed it, like 3 minus 1 plus 1. And it's no fluke. Paris minus France plus Italy, Rome. The capital recomputed from scratch. Sushi is to Japan as poutine is to Canada. Einstein is to physics as Messi is to soccer. Nobody wrote these answers down. They fall out of the geometry, because the links between things have quietly become roads you can walk along. Now here's the part that should give you chills. Build this map in English and cat lands somewhere. Build one in Chinese and the word for cat lands in almost the exact same spot. Different letters, different sounds, different alphabet entirely. Same direction, which means a machine can translate without a dictionary. It just finds the word in the other language that points the same way. Meaning, it turns out, is something underneath language, and a direction can catch it. Now, the early maps had one weakness. They gave each word a single arrow, forever. But the word bank has two faces, so the newer maps, the ones inside ChatGPT, went one step further. They let the arrow move with the sentence. I sat on the riverbank. The arrow drifts toward water, trees, fishing. I put it in the bank, same 4 letters, and the arrow swings clear across the map toward money, vaults, loans. Same word, the context bends the direction. And you live inside these maps every single day. Type cheap flights to Paris, and the search bar serves you budget airfare to France. Not one word matched, it matched your heading, not your letters. Finish a space comedy on Netflix, and it lines up 3 more. Not because someone labeled them, but because they sit in the same neighborhood. None of it is magic, it's distance, measured in meaning. Now I've been lying to you a little, to keep it gentle. This map isn't flat. A real map has 2 ways to move, left, right, up, down. The AI's map has hundreds, sometimes thousands. So, cat doesn't lean one way, it leans a little furry, a little pet, a little animal, a little four-legged, all at the same time, along directions you have no name for. You cannot picture that space. Neither can the people who built it. They just trust the math to keep measuring directions in a room too big to see. And it doesn't stop at single words. A whole sentence gets an arrow, a paragraph, a photo, your face. Everything an AI has ever touched lives somewhere in that space. As a heading. This is its entire inner world. It doesn't think in English or in pictures, it thinks in arrows. But here's where the magic turns cold. The machine builds this map by reading us, billions of pages we wrote, our books, our forums, our resumes. And it doesn't only soak up what we mean, it soaks up what we quietly assume. Every bias buried in the way we use words settles into the map as a direction. Watch what happens when you run the exact same arithmetic from before. King minus man plus woman gave us queen. Beautiful. Now try computer programmer minus man plus woman. In one famous study, the older word maps answered homemaker. Nobody typed that in. It fell out of the geometry, out of our words. The AI didn't decide to be sexist. There was no evil line of code. It simply learned a map where the heading for woman and the heading for career had been pulled a little apart, because in the text it read, that's how our world looked. It didn't get us wrong. It got us right, a little too honestly. Our prejudices are directions too. Now, engineers can shove those arrows back into place. They can find the gender heading and straighten it. Newer models are far better at this than the old ones. But you can only straighten a road once you know it's bent, and the map holds thousands of roads no one has ever named. You can't fix what you can't see. So step all the way back. An AI doesn't keep facts in a list, like a library. It holds one enormous landscape of directions, and everything it knows is just a place to stand and a way to face. The meaning of a word, the mood of a song, the style of a painter, even its sense of what's normal and what's strange. All of it, headings on the same quiet map. And once you've seen that, you can't unsee it. The next time an AI finishes your sentence or nails a song you didn't know you needed, or quietly says something a little biased, you won't call it magic, and you won't call it broken. You'll know exactly what just happened. It moved along a direction, on a map it traced out of us. Most people will use these machines for the rest of their lives believing they store words. You just learned they store directions, and that one idea explains their brilliance and their blind spots in the very same breath. That's the difference between using AI and understanding it. And you just crossed that line. I'm Professor Ink. See you on the map.